Okay, in this video we're going to look at mixed numbers, which are in 4C of your textbook. Remember, you should be writing down all key ideas. So here are the key ideas. You can either write them out or you can print them out. If you right click on here, I'm pretty sure it would say, no, maybe, no. I was just seeing if it would work, if we could copy it. But you can take a screenshot, or if you prefer, you can write out those notes. It's up to you. You need to know the difference between, I guess, a proper fraction, a mixed number, and an improper fraction. So there's no definition here for a proper fraction, but a proper fraction is just a fraction where the numerator is smaller than the denominator. So the numerator is the number on top. So if we think of a number, I don't know, 8, then anything on the denominator on the bottom has to be bigger than 8. So if we did 9, that is what we call a proper fraction. Okay, I'm just writing quickly. Now, if we were to have a bigger numerator than our denominator, so let's just say I flipped it, it would be an improper fraction. And the purpose of this topic is to convert improper fractions into mixed numbers, or mixed numbers into improper fractions. So basically you would say, how many 8s go into 9? We have 1. And how many left over? 1 over 8. And we call that a mixed number. Now, in last week's work, you would have already touched on this, and you would have done 2 questions from 4C already that cover this. So make sure you have done 4C questions 7 and 8 before you move on, so then you'll have a bit of an idea of how to do it. This one we're going to be looking at just converting mixed numbers back into improper fractions, okay, because the other one was already done in the previous video. So if you need to go back and watch that video, you can. Okay, so these questions, you need to answer all of them. Question 1 is quite long. Look how long it is. It's crazy. It goes all the way to X. You'd wonder why wouldn't they just go to Z? Seriously, just do 2 more questions and do the whole alphabet. Now, there are quite a lot there. There is nothing wrong with you doing every second one, or if you are quite confident, doing every third one. Okay, so I don't mind you skipping them. I don't want you to just do the first 10 and leave it, because usually the questions get start off easy and then get harder. Okay, so if you do the first 10, you're just going to be doing the top 10 easy ones. You're not going to get to the harder ones. Now, I do know some of you need the practice, so don't think, oh, I'm just going to do every third one because you're being lazy. Okay, you need to learn. Okay, this is not a test of how quick you can do things. It's a test of you actually being able to learn how to do stuff. So in this case, how to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions. I'm not going to go through every question. Okay, I might, let's do every 5th one just for the sake of it. I would like you to do every second or every third one. You could do every one, but it will take you a while, okay? And I'm pretty sure that you've got, you can still get the hang of it by doing every second one, but it is up to you, okay? All right, so let's do question A. Okay, so I'm going to write that down. We're looking at 2 and 1/5. Now, the first thing you need to do is to convert this 2 into a fraction, basically, because at the moment it's an integer, it's a whole number. We got to convert it into a fraction. Now, we wanted the fraction to be over 5, because this denominator is 5, so we want to have the same denominator basically. So the easiest way is to just put a little times under there. 2 times 5 is 10. Okay, so do you see what I did there? 2 times 5 is 10. And when you think about it, what is 10 divided by 5? It is 2. And we can't forget the 1/5 we've already got there. So we've got to add them together. Now, we haven't done addition of fractions just yet, but you would have done it in primary school. So you know when the denominators are the same, you can easily just add them together. So 10 plus 1 is 11, and then the denominators stay the same. So when we add them, we keep them the denominator the same. So if you just think, the fifth as an object, just like an apple. So I have 10 apples plus one more apple. How many apples do I have? I have 11 apples. So the fifth can just be considered as an object. So in this fraction, we've got 10 of them. In this one, we've got 1 of them. So how many do we have altogether? We have 11 fifths. All right, let's move on to the next one. So let me just keep that up there so we can refer back to it. The good thing about doing these questions in your workbook as you go along is that you should be able to refer back to them. Okay, so as I'm writing these, if I'm going too quick for you, you just pause it, okay, and then you can continue. Okay, so remember we multiply the 4 with the denominator. So 4 times 7 is 28. This is why TT Rockstars is extremely important, because fractions, you really need to know your times tables. Okay, and then we've got 1/7 left over. Okay, so how many sevenths do I have all together? I have 28 and 1, which gives me 29 over 7. Okay, so here we did question A. This one was E. All right, which one are we going to do next? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do J. So 11 and 1/3. Okay, so we need to multiply the integer, the whole number, with the denominator. So 11 times 3 is 33. And then over the denominator, plus a third. Okay, because that's what we have here. And they're all being 1, the numerator. So hopefully we come across one that isn't. 33 and 1 makes 34 over 3. Okay, just because we've got the space, let's just do L. Okay, just because I can see that still on the screen. Okay, so there I am. So 10 times 10, I'm going to put the little multiply sign there. 10 times 10 is 100. So it's 100 over 10. And then we're adding the 3/10 as well. And that's what fractions are. This 10 means 10 plus 3/10. We just don't write the plus sign in here. Okay, so 100 plus 3 is 103 over 10. That doesn't look like a 3. You should know it's a 3. Okay, let's scroll down. Clear that if you need it. Pause now. Okay, so let's scroll down and do a few more. I don't know what we're up to, so let's just do question O. Okay, so O is 5 and 2/8. Okay, so remember we multiply the integer with the denominator. So 5 times 8 is 40 over the denominator, and then we've got those 2/8 there. So 40 and 2 gives you 42 over 8. And we don't really need to do any more. I think you should have the hang of it, but if you need some help, you're more than welcome to help ask me. Oh, I just noticed there's some more down here as well. That's right, we go to X, don't we? Okay, let's do some harder ones then. Let's do let's do V. Look at V. Now, I choose V because people think just because a number is large, it's difficult. Okay, but the same process applies. So it's still 8 times 100, which is 800 over 100. And then we add the 3 and the 100. So 803 gives you 803 over 100. And there's none here that you should need a calculator for. So let's do W. So even though it's 64 and 3 over 10, 64 times 10, when you're multiplying by 10, you're just adding a 0. So it's 640 over 10 plus 3/10. And then how many tenths do I have? I have 643 over 10. Okay, Let's move to question 2. Okay, so these ones here, we're looking at writing the question on a number line. And we have to mark on this number line the following fractions. So let's draw this number line. I'll draw this number line in a different color. Let's do red. It's going to be terrible because I'm not very good at drawing lines, but you should be drawing your line using a ruler. Okay. All right, so our first one, we're looking at thirds. So the easiest way to do this, so if I was going from 0, 1, 2, see if I can get to 5, I think I will. And you should be using your ruler to space these evenly, because that's big gap, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's do it in a different color here. So if I'm doing thirds, I need to separate my numbers, in between my numbers, into 3. So here it's thirds, okay, because it's increasing by thirds. And that's indicated by the denominator. So I look at the denominator and it's a third. This one here is quarters, and here we have fifths. Okay, so I'm going to draw these in. And can you see I've separated, oh, I don't need to go any further. See, I've separated them into 3 equal parts. Okay, so let's do another colour. Looking at very colourful today. So 2/3. Okay, so each marking here, each tick on our scale goes up by a third. So here we're at 0, 1/3, 2/3. So I'm just going to indicate in blue here that that's 2/3 here. Okay, 2. Well, that's easy, isn't it? It's 2. 5/3. Okay, so you can do this 2 ways. You can either count or you can convert 5/3 into a mixed number. So first of all, I'm going to count, okay? So there's 0. 1, 2/3, which we did before. 3/3, 4/3, 5/3 is here. Okay, so just before 2. You can convert that 5/3 into a mixed number. So 5/3. How many 3's go into 5? 1. And how many are left over? 2. So you can see here I'm at 1 and 2/3. Okay, so 1 plus 1/3 plus 2/3. Okay, but other than that, it's easy to use a number line. Okay, so you can do it either way. All right, the next one is 3 and 3/3. So here's 3. Sorry, 3 and 1/3. So 3, and then we're adding on another third. So we're here. So this point here is 3 and a third. All right, if you need to draw that, you can pause it. All right, moving on. Let's draw another number line for B. Okay, let's see if my line this time is straighter. Not really. Okay, again going from 0 to 5. 0, 1. Actually, you know what? I need to do this a bit bigger. Just because I'm working with quarters this time, so I need a bit more space. You're doing it with your ruler. You probably are going to be okay. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this time we're dealing with quarters. You can see one of the denominators is a half, but remember a half is the same as 2/4. So we'll deal with that in a sec. The easiest way I find to do quarters, and this is what I do when I cut up my son's brownies, I cut in half and then I cut in half again. Not that he gets a quarter of a tray of brownies, but that's how I make sure I get it even. Okay, so if I'm dividing by an even number, I do it that way. So in the middle first, then halve the halves. And that's why half of a half is a quarter. Okay. First one, what do we have? 3/4. So we're starting at 0 here. There's 1, 2, 3/4. Okay, the next one is 12/4. Okay, so this is a improper fraction. So let's count first and then let's work it out what it's going to be as a whole number. You might already know what it is. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so there we are at 3. So I'm going to write that as 12/4 as well because that's the same thing. Fractions read as 12 how many 4s, or 12 divided by 4, and I know that is 3. So 12 divided by 4 as a fraction is 3, or as a, sorry, not as a fraction, as a mixed number is 3. All right, 2 1/4, so here's 2 and we want to add one more quarter, so that's 2 1/4. And then 3 1/2, so here's 3, now a half is 2/4, but you can also see that's halfway there. So over here, and let's write it up there, 3 1/2. All right, let's do the last one. If you need to, pause now. Okay, this one we're doing a fifth, so I'm going to try to make this longer. Okay. And let's do our fifths in between. So this is really easy, much easier to do on a ruler. I'm just going to do it with my pen, freehand. Okay, so it's not very good, is it? So if you need to pause to finish off your number line, make sure you do. I hope you've been pausing anyway. That's a terrible number line, but you'll rule yours, hopefully. All right, the first number we have is 4/5. So let's count along, starting at 0. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. Right, here is 4/5. All right, the next one is 14/5. So let's keep it as an improper fraction and do the counting. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh, it's terrible. 14. Okay, so 14/5 as an improper fraction. How many 5s go into 14? You can count if you like. So 5, 10, 15. Well, 15 is too high because we want 14. So 10 is your highest. So 5 goes into 10 twice and we're left with 4/5. And you can see there 2 and 4/5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 3 1/5. So here's 3 and then we add on one more fifth here. So that's 3 1/5. 10/5. Okay, so hopefully you can read that as 10 divided by 5, which is 2, but let's count on anyway. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so remember, 2 is the same as 10/5. And then 19/5. Well, seems quicker to probably do that as a mixed number, but we'll count first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 here. And that's what, 19/5. And that is equal to, if I read it off my number line, 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4/5. Now, when you think about it, how many times does 5 go into 19? It goes in 3 times, and we have 4 remaining. Okay, so pause here if you need to copy that down. All right, moving on to question 3. Okay, so fill in the gaps for the following number patterns. All right, so the first thing you need to see is what's the difference? What are we going up by? So if I'm at 1 1/3 and then I go to 1 2/3, how much have I increased by? It's increased by 1/3. So you can see that I've got 1 1/3, 1 2/3, then 2, because 2 is the same as 1 3/3. And then I'm adding another third. So I'm going to write the answer here. So this number here is 2 1/3. Okay, so we're adding on 2/3, and then we have 2 2/3, 3 1/3. Okay, so I'm just rewriting this. If we're adding on another third, what do I have in it? You could probably see the pattern anyway, because I've got 1/3, 2/3, 3, 1/3, 2/3, 4. Okay, and then it continues as 4 1/3, and so on. Question B, what is it going up by? So it's going up by sevenths, but what's the difference in our numerator? It's 2. So it's actually going up by 2/7 each time. So let's start at 1 2/7. Okay, so we're starting with this one here because the next one is what we need to know. Add on 2/7. So I'm going to have 1 4/7 now. Then I'm going to have 1 6/7 because I'm just adding on 2/7 at a time. If I add on 2/7 here, I'm going to go over to 2. Okay, so 1/7 is going to bring me to 2, and then I'm left with 1 more 7th, 2 1/7. You can also work backwards if it's easier for you. So if it was too hard to go from the 1 6/7, you can say, well, I'm not sure what comes after, but let's see what can come before 2 3/7. So you could take away the 2/7 from that. It's another way you could do it. 2 3/7, 2 5/7. Okay, let's add on another 7th. If I add on a 2/7 here, it brings me to 3. And I've got 3 2/7. I'm running out of room. And then add on another 2/7, 3 4/7, and you can actually see the pattern happening again. Okay, so here I am, 2 4 6, and then you can guess that the next one would be 4 1/7, 4 3/7, and so on. Okay, so you can also use the pattern to help you. All right, let's just do question C down here. Okay, so I'm going to start with 1 4/5. What's my difference? So I've got 3/5 here and I'm going up to 1 1/5. Okay, so that might be a bit tricky. Let's try to do the difference between 1 1/5 and 1 4/5. Okay, so the integer is the same, denominator is the same, and the numerator's gone up by 3. So I'm actually increasing by 3/5 now. So my next one, I need 1 more fifth to get to 2, and then I've got 2 left over. Okay, 2 2/5. Then when I add 3/5, it brings me up to 3. Then I've got 3/5. And then when I add on another 3/5, I now go to 4 1/5. And now my pattern's starting again. Okay, so basically I'm here. So 4 4/5, and then I'm into 5 2/5. Okay, so it's written here for you here now. Add on another 3/5, and that brings you up to 6. And then we're at 6 3/5, and then we're at 7 1/5. So the pattern does recur. You just got to identify that pattern. So you can see if you just look at the fraction part, not the number part, we've got 4/5, 2/5, 3. 3/5, 1/5, 4. It's a bit all over the place, but you can see that your pattern kind of ends here and then starts again. Okay, so you need to be able to identify patterns with difficult ones like that, unless you can easily add fractions, but it can be quite difficult. Okay, now I'm going to clear that, so pause it if you need to. The answers are all here. Okay, and after you've done this sheet, let's just go to the website. Whoops, be able to see them. Whoops, what did I do? Okay, you can't really see, but that says 4C because I'm just outside of the screen. Actually, I know what to do. See this works. There we go. Okay, so the mixed number worksheet is what we just went through. The video is what you're watching. Textbook questions. So if you struggle with mixed numbers, you can do questions 1 to 5. If you're okay, I want you to do 4, 5, 11, and 12. And if you're super duper confident with mixed number, just do 11 and 12. Now, I have got your homework is just doing those questions because there are quite a few of them and you might still be behind from week 1. There's an enrichment worksheet. I will get the enriched tasks up soon, so it may already be up by the time you're watching this video. Remember, in your textbook, let me just go up here. So you have walkthroughs and questions and Scorcher that you can do to get extra practice. And the best way to learn is just to do as much practice as you can. And I'll have some quizzes up towards the end of the week. Okay, so let's go back to the worksheet. So make sure you've got your theory, you've done your this worksheet before you move into the questions. Sorry about the long video, but hopefully it helps.